If you watch like any other review of the iPad Pro this year, pretty much all of them will say that it's a bad value and you should go with the previous model because for the vast majority of people, and for all intents and purposes, it's the same device. However, some people simply have a lot of disposable income, and if you're solely looking for the best iPad right now in 2020 for your specific needs, that's what I want to talk about in this video, as well as a quick discussion about the iPad Pro being a laptop replacement. The only reason I can think of for picking up the new one over the previous model would be the standard 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage at the base model. That's up from 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of storage on the 2018 model. It's got Wi-Fi 6, it's got the new LiDAR sensor if you're an app developer and you want to have your augmented reality apps ready for when the new iPhones launch, and slightly faster graphics. But whether or not those improvements are worth it is entirely up to you and your specific use case. Now, regarding the iPad Pro as a laptop replacement, if you're already using the iPad as your primary device, so like graphics designers, if you work in construction for your 3D models and blueprints, if you're an inspector, a real estate agent, then getting the new Magic Keyboard is going to improve the user experience when you want to type up emails and use it in a laptop form. So I wouldn't think of the iPad as a laptop replacement, but if you think of it as like a two-in-one device, similar to the Microsoft Surface Pro lineup, the Surface Pro is a laptop first that can be used as a tablet, while the iPad Pro is a tablet first that can be used as a basic laptop. Like, don't listen to Apple's marketing, right? Or any company's marketing. Just use whatever suits your specific use case better. You're not going to use a laptop while walking around on a construction site, and you're not going to do game development on an iPad. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, because the 2020 iPad Pro is so similar to the previous model, I'm not going to do an in-depth review, but I will do a quick overview just to refresh your memory. The build of the iPad Pro is very premium, but it's not structurally rigid. There's been a lot of people who have noticed this design bending in their bags, and you should be more careful with this device in particular, and that it's something you should keep in mind if you tend to be a bit more aggressive with your things. But in terms of usability, it's made of anodized aluminum, it's weighted nicely, and I haven't had any issues holding it with one hand. The unit I'm reviewing is the 11-inch model. It's got a 120Hz refresh rate that's variable down to 24Hz to save battery. Really useful if you're using this for reading, for example. In the past, I wasn't able to measure any of the specs for the display, but this time I was able to profile it using my Spider 5, and this thing measures extremely well. I don't have any other tablets to compare, unfortunately, but I will pull up a couple other laptops and two-in-one devices just to give you a point of reference. The brightness and contrast are particularly good for an IPS panel. In fact, this iPad Pro has a higher brightness and contrast ratio than every other laptop that I've personally measured. And if you're an artist, photographer, or anyone who wants a nice-looking, fast, and color-accurate display, I mean, I can't say this is the best because I'd have to measure every device in existence, but it's a really good screen. You still have the quad speaker setup, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. They're loud, they're detailed, they have a solid amount of bass. Not bass in terms of music, that'd be kind of crazy for such a small device, but bass in terms of vocals. Like if you kill the bass on my voice, it sounds really hollow and it's kind of like playing audio out of a $200 smartphone, but these speakers do a pretty good job for natural sounding vocals. Battery life is excellent. You should expect between 8 to 10 hours depending on what you're doing, because remember the screen has a variable refresh rate, but it is a comfortable full day battery in my experience. I guess I've already given my conclusion at the start of the video, so I'll just kind of summarize everything here. I recommend getting the old one in terms of value. I mean, it's $250 less, and I recommend the iPad Pro with the Magic Keyboard as a two-in-one device if you're primarily using it in tablet form and occasionally using it as a basic laptop. Remember, it's a tablet first that can also act as a basic laptop. Alright, if you have any recommendations for videos you would like to see, kind of running out of laptops now, you can drop a comment down below and I'll see you in the next video.